Welcome back, everyone. Please take a seat. Um, for the last talk of the day, I would like to invite Jeff Lehman, Vice Chancellor of NYU Shanghai, to share his insight on education for this changing future. Thank you.
So, good afternoon, everybody. It has been a long and very, very stimulating afternoon, and I am delighted to have a chance to wrap up. I should say that this is our third Pan-Asian Conference for NYU alumni, and I was honored to speak at the very first conference in Taipei 2 years ago, and again at last year's conference in Shanghai. So I feel like I'm seeing old friends again today. The theme of today's conference has been thriving in a changing world. And our most fundamental mission as a university is to help our students get themselves ready to thrive after they graduate. So I have two questions that I want to talk about this afternoon. The first is our world changing so much that in order to thrive, the next generation of students needs different capacities from what the last generation needed? Obviously, the answer is going to be yes. And then second, if they do, how can we make sure that a university like NYU helps them to build the capacities that they need? So I'm going to talk about 4 capacities this afternoon. The first 2 are qualities that I discussed last year during my talk in Shanghai, multicultural effectiveness and creativity. Because many of you heard me then, I'm going to review them relatively quickly before I turn to the other 2 capacities, which I didn't talk about last year. One is algorithmic thinking, and the other is healthy living. So the first capacity that I want to talk about is multicultural effectiveness. The past quarter century has seen an unprecedented degree of global integration, economically, culturally, socially, and politically. This has been good for average living standards worldwide, good for the environment. As has been noted during the previous panels, it has been bad for inequality within countries. The distributional issues are significant. Last year, I did suggest that I thought that this process of global integration was irreversible. This year, I would not say that. Nationalist forces are, of course, on the rise. Anti-globalization is a possibility that we all have to be thinking about. But nonetheless, those of us who believe in cosmopolitanism believe that a persuasive intellectual case can be made for why a diverse and multicultural world is more attractive than a world where nation states are surrounded by high walls and well-defended barriers to movement. So I think one element of this case is about technology. I think even if politics over the next few years were to make movement more difficult, politics cannot repeal technology, which has meant that even within a single nation state, the millennial generation sees greater rewards flowing to people who are able to work well with people who come from different cultures from the one that they grew up in. So during last year, during this conference last year in my talk, I spoke about a wonderful book called Tiger Writing by the author Gish Jen, who is an American of Chinese descent, who has often been described as this century's great American novelist. And Tiger Writing offers a brilliant analysis of how culture matters in subtle ways. Well, this year I'm happy to report that Gish Jen is a scholar in residence with us at NYU Shanghai. Our faculty and our students have had the opportunity to talk with her about her next book, which is coming out early next year, called The Girl at the Baggage Claim. And in The Girl at the Baggage Claim, Gish Jen talks, she presents a theory of how Western and Eastern cultures are framed by very different conceptions of the relationship between the individual and the community, different conceptions of what we mean when we talk about the self. So NYU Shanghai, of course, is structured to ensure that all of our students have the opportunity to do the work that is required to become more effective in a multicultural environment. I believe that NYU Abu Dhabi also is well structured to carry out this piece of capacity development in its students. The larger challenge for New York University as a whole is to figure out how to ensure that students who matriculate on the New York campus actually develop this essential capacity. And with Andrew Hamilton as our new president, this is a topic that we are often discussing at the leadership level of NYU, is how to take the insights from Shanghai and Abu Dhabi about this important capacity, recycle them back into the New York campus so that our students in New York can develop this quality as well as we're doing it locally. Second capacity is creativity. Again, during my talk last year, I discussed another wonderful book by Eric Brynjolfsson and Andrew McAfee called The Second Machine Age. And I argued that in order to add value in the second machine age, our future graduates need to know how to tap into their own natural creativity, to generate novel and original possibilities, then to evaluate those possibilities with clear and dispassionate analysis, and to determine whether their ideas are actually valuable and not just bits of clever junk. So this means that they need to be able to ideate, to keep returning to the same information, the same data over and over again, and to see and interpret the same data in new and original and more insightful ways. And so our students need to be brave enough to take risks, to stand up, offer a new approach, to fail in front of their classmates, recognizing that what they're proposing may well be proven wrong. They may have to abandon ideas that they once thought were brilliant. That is part of what it means to be an innovator in today's world. I also spent a fair amount of time last year talking about a program we have at NYU Shanghai called the Program in Creativity and Innovation. And I just want to update what I said then, because since last year, that program has continued to grow and thrive at NYU Shanghai. We've added more curricular offerings. So one of the curricular offerings will come up next semester. I am going to be co-teaching a course entitled Creativity, together with Adam Brandenberger from the Stern faculty in New York. We are going to be also, we actually now, this semester, have a new course on design thinking. Next semester, we'll have a new course on robotics. The whole point of these courses is to help our students hone their abilities to combine expertise on the one hand with originality on the other hand, the essence of innovation. We remain, of course, fully committed to a pedagogic philosophy that requires our students to be active learners, not passive learners, and that is one of the innovations that we're bringing to higher education on the mainland. So those are two capacities that I talked about last year. So now let me go to something that I didn't talk about last year, and that is the capacity for algorithmic thinking. So algorithmic thinking is thinking about process, it's thinking about methods. An algorithm is a set of clear, unambiguous instructions that are followed in a well-defined order according to clear rules. Algorithmic thinking is the ability to understand, to execute, to evaluate, and to create algorithms. It involves thinking carefully about the sequence of instructions in an algorithm and what is likely to happen when that sequence of instructions is followed. It is also thinking about how the instructions affect the data that they are applied to, and it is also thinking about how data might be arranged and stored. Now, for prior generations, algorithmic thinking was important for a few professions. Computer programming was one. Writing cookbooks of recipes was another one. Those are examples, traditional examples of algorithmic thinking. Well, that is no longer the world that we inhabit. Today, algorithmic thinking is, I believe, a capacity that is every bit as important as multicultural effectiveness, every bit as important as creativity, if one wants to thrive in the current world. So in recent years, popular discussion has tended to focus on one particular form of algorithmic thinking, that is to say computer programming or coding in a programming language such as Python or Ruby on Rails. Bill Gates has called coding a new literacy. The United Kingdom started requiring all high school students to learn how to code a couple of years back. Earlier this year, the United States government unveiled a Computer Science for All initiative. In his State of the Union address earlier this year, President Obama described this objective in the following way. He said, "In the coming years, we should be offering every student the hands-on computer science and math classes that make them job ready on day one." Now, I want to say I fully endorse such initiatives, but I believe we should be very clear about why they are important. Our graduates are not going to spend the next half century writing computer programs in Python. Soon enough, Python will have gone the way of Fortran and COBOL and BASIC and C++. There is simply no way that in the year 2030, knowing how to write programs in Python will make you job ready on day one. No. The reason why it is so valuable for our students today to learn how to write programs in Python is that it helps ensure that they have highly developed capacities for algorithmic thinking. So here I want to quote something different from the White House. They say that people who learn these skills will become experts at breaking a large problem into smaller ones, recognizing how new problems relate to problems that are already solved, setting aside details of a problem that are less important, and identifying and refining the steps that are needed to reach a solution. You see, this piece of algorithmic thinking is sustainable. This is the piece, this is the capacity that will last a lifetime. So we say multicultural effectiveness, that first capacity I spoke about, will never become obsolete even if a particular foreign language happens to become extinct. Creativity will never become obsolete even if a particular artistic technique falls into disuse. It's the same for algorithmic thinking. It is a higher order capacity whose utility will persist in new contexts, contexts whose details we cannot possibly imagine today. And so that is why at NYU Shanghai, we have now imposed a new graduation requirement that requires all our students, whether they're majoring in neural science or global China studies, to have completed a course in algorithmic thinking. Now, many students will satisfy this requirement by taking a course in computer science. Many will satisfy it by taking a course in data science. But I suspect that even more of our students will have satisfied it by taking a course in interactive media arts, what we call IMA. Interactive media arts, IMA, has emerged as our second most popular major at NYU Shanghai. It is focused on exploring the expressive possibilities that are brought about by emerging forms of technology, media, and communication. As our faculty have described this program on our website, quote, IMA students are challenged to create interactive systems that connect people, facilitate participation, convey information, communicate stories, enhance experiences, and otherwise augment, improve, and bring both meaning and delight to people's lives. This may involve the development of software, the manipulation of digital media, the fabrication of material objects in the maker community, the production of electronic devices, the construction of virtual and physical spaces. Yes, I agree with what Alan said, VR is everything, or the investigation of as yet unrealized forms. IMA requires our students to integrate a number of different kinds of qualities. They include analytical qualities, such as algorithmic thinking. They include aesthetic qualities, such as an understanding of color and line and other elements of visual design. And they also include emotional qualities, such as empathy for the people who will be using the things that you make. So I want to show you two little video clips. The first one illustrates the academic work of our IMA students. So let's roll it. Nope, that's not it. Oh yes, that's it. That is it. This is the end of the semester show. See why this is our second most popular major. The second clip I want to show you is from 2 months ago, and it is from Andy Hamilton's inauguration week in New York. I know many of you are Tisch graduates. What you're going to or Stern graduates, sorry. What you're going to see is the front of Tisch Hall at the Stern School of Business in New York. And this was a display that was created to make use of the way that the windows on Tisch Hall are laid out in a grid. And this was something, again, that was done by our IMA students to celebrate the inauguration of President Hamilton and to celebrate NYU as a global network with degree-granting campuses in 3 different cities around the world. So this is the second clip. algorithmic thinking, the third capacity. So now let me go to the fourth capacity. And here I want to talk in a very tentative way about something that is not a graduation requirement at NYU Shanghai. It's not a graduation requirement at NYU Abu Dhabi. It's not a graduation requirement on the New York campus of NYU. And what I want to put out there for consideration is the question whether perhaps we ought to develop a graduation requirement associated with our students' capacities for healthy living. The thought here is that that capacity might also be critical to thriving in a changing world. So that is our mission. Our fundamental mission as a university is to help our students get themselves ready to thrive after they graduate. To thrive, truly, they have to have both healthy minds and healthy bodies. But like all great universities today, NYU is focused on providing its students with resources, abundant resources, to nourish both their intellectual and their physical development. At the same time, our structure draws a sharp distinction. The things we call academic, the things that we include within our so-called curriculum, the things that we require for graduation are the intellectual elements. They are things that relate to the development of our students' minds. We put into a different category, the so-called extracurricular category, all elements that relate to our students' physical well-being. Learning how to engage in aerobic exercise is extracurricular. Learning what good nutrition is, learning to eat well, is extracurricular. Learning yoga is extracurricular. Now, when our students were in their K-12 years, they took physical education in school, and they were even given grades based on how well they did in PE. But once they reach college, we have decided that as an institution, we should disclaim any responsibility for our students' development of their physical capacities. And I want to suggest that perhaps it's time for us to revisit that decision. I have to tell you, my thinking in this regard has been influenced by someone who I've gotten to know during my time at NYU Shanghai. His name is Wang Shi. Wang Shi is a Shenzhener. We heard a lot about Shenzhen today. Wang Shi is the founder of a company that became China's largest real estate developer called Vanke. And Wang Shi is a remarkable man. While building the company, he has always been committed to both the development of the business and also to the health and fitness of the people who work there. So the culture of Vanke emphasizes health and fitness for all employees. Wang Shi has personally climbed the highest mountain on every continent and has visited the North and South Pole, and he takes his employees at Vanke on regular mountain climbing expeditions. He is a committed rower, and last year he was elected president of the Asian Rowing Federation. 3 years ago, Wang Shi launched a program at the University of Cambridge in England called Deep Dive. And Deep Dive is a non-degree program for mainland Chinese entrepreneurs. So for 4 weeks, these accomplished, successful business people go to England and they study the English language and they study Shakespeare and they become comfortable eating Western food. And every morning they get up at 5 a.m. and go rowing. And I have spoken to some of the people who have participated in the Deep Dive program, and they believe that it has made an enormous difference, not only in their ability to be effective in multicultural environments, the first capacity I spoke about, but also that it has done something different to help them flourish during the next chapter of their careers because of their deeper understanding of nutrition, and of physical fitness. So the question that I want to be posing is whether we should be incorporating the development of our students' capacities to lead healthy, fit lives into our formal curricula. What would it mean to do that? What would it mean to do that in an academically rigorous way? We wouldn't want to do it in the same way we do extracurricular things. We'd want to do it in the same way that we do curricular things. Now, the truth is, today, we know a lot about health. We know a lot about nutrition. We know a lot about fitness. We even know a lot about sleep. We even know a lot about human psychology, how it is that people can develop habits that promote health, how it is that they can shed habits that jeopardize health. And what I want to suggest is that if we really want to prepare our students to thrive in a changing world, it might be time for us to incorporate that understanding into our formal curriculum to make it part of what every NYU graduate experiences as a formal part of her or his education. So there you have it, 4 capacities: multicultural effectiveness, creativity, algorithmic thinking, and healthy living. It's enough to make you want to go back to college. So I'll stop there, and if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to take them. And we could bring up the lights, that would be good.
Hi, Mr. Jeffrey. Thank you for your speech. And I'm a graduate from Steinhardt. I love my school very much. I love Steinhardt and I love NYU. But I'm into the education business. And I have this dilemma every day because I got parents asking me, why is your school only 36 now in the national rankings in the US News? And I got to tell them it's a good school, but the parents, I've got students, I help students getting to the into universities in everywhere around the world, and the parents kept asking, why is NYU only 36 while it is good at school? So could you help me with this dilemma? Thank you.
Sure. I mean, I think one of the important things to help parents to understand about rankings is, well, there are 2 things that I like to emphasize. One is that the rankings are a reflection of the intersection of 2 things. One is the judgment of the entity that is doing the ranking about what is important. And the other is what is actually happening in a world where there are a lot of very good schools. And so what I suggest is that every parent, every student who is interested in deciding where to go to school should look at rankings, and they should study how they're calculated and what values drive the ranker. What is it that the institution that is doing the ranking considers the most important? Is it the test scores of the people who go there? Is it the wealth of the institution? These are factors that have an influence on rankings. And there's nothing wrong with saying, those are the things that matter the most to me. That's perfectly fine. But if you say, no, actually what I care most about is whether my child will become multiculturally effective, whether their creativity will be stimulated, whether they will master the essential qualities of algorithmic thinking, those things don't tend to be picked up by the rankings right away. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, I will say, in today's world, just in China, every year we have 9 million high school graduates. If you have a university that is like ours, say, taking 300 students per year, NYU is taking a few thousand students per year, you're still talking, even if you look at the top, by any ranking system, the top 100 schools, you're still only able to educate a small percentage of the number of qualified students who could go there. The good news is that there are a lot of wonderful universities out there where people can get a wonderful education. And if the most important thing for a parent is to say, my kid went to a school that was ranked X instead of X plus 3, send them to X and don't send them to X plus 3. If what you want to be doing is sending your child to a place that will prepare them to thrive in a changing world, you need to dig deeper. And you need to look much more closely at whether there's a good fit between the student and what they're interested in doing in school and afterwards, and what the institution is providing. So that's the answer I would give. Other questions?
Hi, Jeffrey. Thank you very much for the great speech. I'm Minnie. I actually just graduated this year, so the newest class of the alumni, I guess. I also studied abroad in Shanghai, which brings back a lot of good memories. We're always so jealous of the local students who get to take the interactive media art classes and all the 3D printings that they've been doing, which is amazing work. So just very curious, because I think especially for a program like interactive media art is relatively new, I would say especially in China, or compared to local schools, or even new in the States. So how would that be best? Like, how would that best prepare, say, local students who want to pursue a career locally in China? How do they make the best use of that out of the program? How do they use that to brand themselves for their ideal career path? Thank you.
So, terrific question. I mean, I think, as was mentioned before, there is a huge emphasis now in China on the maker community, a huge emphasis on entrepreneurship. And I think what our students are discovering right now, we're graduating our first class of students this coming May. They're just starting to step into the job market, and a lot of them who became IMA majors, interactive media arts majors, especially our domestic Chinese students, had to do a big sell job with their parents, who said, no, you need to major in business and finance so that you can get a job in a bank. What they're discovering is that the banks are also interested in students who have had this kind of training, because there is a great sense that the maker community and more generally the kinds of qualities that students are developing in terms of design thinking have a much broader value than simply building robots, although a lot of people want to know how to build robots and what that will be for the future. So I think it will ultimately, I think, handle itself just in the course of the next 6 months, because we will then have a slide that shows here are the places where IMA graduates are working today. And it'll say BlackRock, and it'll say Morgan Stanley, and then they'll go, oh, okay, fine. That'll be fine. Any other questions? Okay, everybody. Thanks a lot. Been a great day.
Many thanks to Vice Chancellor Lehman for a very insightful presentation on Shanghai NYU. As Jeff mentioned, our first graduating class are actually graduating from the Shanghai NYU campus this coming spring semester. So I encourage all the alumni here that have hiring capacity for undergraduate students to reach out to Jeff and also his colleague to discuss potential job opportunity, also internship opportunities. Please do that. I think the school is only stronger that we help our alumni to get to the successful status you are here today. So I hope you can be the ambassadors for the school and also be the ambassador for Shanghai NYU. As you know, the Pan-Asia Alumni Association and this conference connects alumni for all over Asia to provide business opportunities and the chance for business development. We have a broad base of support from across Asia, not just Hong Kong, not just China. And today, we're very happy to have with us a group of alumni from Japan. So I would like to invite Mr. Shinichi Kaito-san. He's the president of NYU Alumni Club in Japan to close today's program. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shinichi Kato. I'm a Stern alumnus of class of 1992. So exactly 25 years passed since I graduated Stern School. The Stern building was in Wall Street during that time. So now campus is already changed, and the NYU is grown up very successfully. And we have a campus in Shanghai and Abu Dhabi. But probably nobody told you today, but the NYU has a campus in Tokyo. Maybe you don't know. Fortunately, we have a franchise operation in Tokyo, and the campus is in Shinagawa, called SPS. So NYU has a school called SPS, and luckily we have a campus in Tokyo. So with the honor of presence in SPS in Tokyo, our alumni club very successfully connect many members each time that we have an event in Tokyo. And another fact that I have to tell you right now is that in Japan, we have more than 3,000 NYU alumni historically, and #1 in Asia. So we are the largest alumni in Asia. On that basis, what we can do, we are doing right now as a president of a Japan Alumni Club, is that we try to connect many members across all schools each time that we host events, many types of events, including golf tournament. And we have a very different variety of talents, not only just business or lawyers, but we have I have realized that doctors, artists, musicians, journalists, they are all active, and they are very, I would say, high-class alumni. So I was very lucky to meet those people just in the NYU club organized in Japan for the last 2 years. And coming back to the alumni, what we are doing right now is to not only connect just as a networking party, but also we have just started to connect other schools' alumni networking. This summer, we organized a cocktail party with Alumni Club of Stanford and UC Berkeley, and also we are inviting other schools like Chicago, or even in the future, Harvard. So we are connecting each other in Japan. Why? Because total number of people going to US is decreasing every year. This is very different from China or Korea or Taiwan. So we are very much, feeling this is a sort of a critical moment that the Japanese people do not go to US anymore. That's the phenomena. So we'd like to encourage all the young people, college students, think about again to go abroad, challenging, and spend some time learning something from NYU, of course, in New York, and to get something new for the future career. Otherwise, Japan is going down and down. That's my worry every day. So in a difficult, challenging environment, we are also trying to invite all of you for the future Pan-Asia event to be hosted in Tokyo, definitely before 2020 Tokyo Olympics and Paralympics. That's our dream. Of course, it's not an easy thing. First, cost, and also the distance. It's a little bit far away from Hong Kong or Thailand or Philippines. So Nevertheless, we try to think about how we can organize, how we can welcome you with the essence of Japanese omotenashi, the hospitality, and this is the culture of Japan. Looking back to the statistics, Japanese government recently announced this year already 20 million tourists already visited Japan. So probably we reach 25 million visitors before the end of the year. And the Japanese government tried to increase this number of visitors up to 40 million people by 2020. So I don't understand why people outside of Japan love to come to Tokyo or to Japan. Probably have many different values other than just manufacturing or exporting or making money. Now we realized Japan has very good culture, history, good food, good drink, and also the essence of hospitality. That's all about it. And then we can make money out of those potentially we have already in the Japanese history. So we now realize just creating something, manufacturing something, we are providing services to welcoming all the incoming visitors and incoming wealth to Japan. We have already had nature, mountains, sceneries, even in a rural area, we have a value already. So now we realize this is a very different concept of Japan welcoming all other people from all over the world. So once again, thank you very much for coming today. And I was also very much impressed with the quality of presentation today. And also I'd like to thank all the Pan-Asia committee members to organize this very nice conference today. And thank you very much, and hope to see you again next year, somewhere, hopefully in Japan. Thank you.
I'm going to just make a quick announcement. So I think tonight's reception will starts at 7 p.m. at the rooftop garden where you had lunch. I think we're going to give the alumni, also the guests, an extra curriculum, as Jeff mentioned. As a tradition of the Pan-Asia Conference, we're going to always do a group photo. Please join Jeff and also Andre to the close to the podium. We're going to take a group photo together. Thank you.
Bring up the light.
Someone left me a glass of wine. If everyone can take their seats, please, so we can start the program. Good evening, President Andrew Hamilton and his wife, Jenny Hamilton, Dean Peter Henry, Jeff Lehman, Vice Chancellor of NYU Shanghai, Deborah Lamort, Senior Vice President of University Development and Alumni Relations, Andrew Koo, President of the Pan-Asia Alumni Conference, and his wife, Jana Koo. My name is Elisa Skilton, and I'm one of the founding members of the NYU Alumni Club in Hong Kong, and I'm honored to be your MC tonight. And as the food is being served, feel free to eat. I know everyone's quite hungry. I am a graduate of Stern, class of '97. And obviously, I was so impressed that I went back for my MBA 5 years later. May I take this opportunity to extend a further word of welcome to everyone here this evening. We're delighted to have you here to participate and share in the third annual Pan-Asia Alumni Conference. Thank you for coming. The fact that many of you traveled long distances to be here reminds us of all the value that NYU education and the importance of the university's global presence. As President Hamilton mentioned last night at the welcome reception, NYU has made great strides in a very short amount of time. And this would not have been possible without the 500,000 alumni around the globe, the distinguished professors, the leadership from our presidents, and last but not the least, your financial contributions. And speaking of financial contributions, we want to take a moment here to thank again the sponsors for today's conference. Yellowstone Holdings, Alex and Wright Inc., Flora Huang and Daniel Xu, Chartwell Capital, T. Pages Mall, NYU Alumni Club of South China, and NYU Alumni Club of Hong Kong. Now our next speaker embodies an ideal NYU alumni. He is an NYU trustee, a member of the Stern Board of Overseers, is the president of the NYU Alumni Club of Taiwan, as well as the president of the NYU Pan-Asia Alumni Association. So without further ado, please join me to welcome Mr. Andrew Koo.
Good evening. It's indeed a great honor and a pleasure for me, both personally as the president of the NYU Pan-Asia Alumni Association, to welcome you to our gala dinner in this magnificent surroundings of the Asia Society Hong Kong Center. I would like to extend special greetings to President Andy Hamilton and his wife, Jenny, and to all of the NYU leaders here with us. The site that we're here tonight was originally built by the British Army in the mid-19th century and has since been transformed into a cultural and educational hub. The changes in this place mirror the change that have taken place in Hong Kong over the last 2 centuries. And it is very fitting to have the conference here today as our guest speaker and alumni shared insights on the change that are taking place in today's world. And now businesses should respond to these changes so they can continue to thrive in the future. I hope that you have all found today's conference both intellectually stimulating and worthwhile. I am delighted to see so many friends and colleagues here. Equally, I am delighted to have met so many new people who are members of the NYU community. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the speakers and the participants for their essential contribution to the success of this event. Special recognition must also go to our local host, the NYU Alumni Club in Hong Kong, and the planning committee of the Pan-Asia Alumni Association for making today's event possible. To all fellow alumni, I encourage you to continue your support of the local alumni clubs, the Pan-Asia Alumni Association, and the greater NYU community, so we can work together in the fostering, the advancing the NYU network in Asia. Before I close, I would like to thank President Andrew Hamilton and his wife, Jenny, for being with us tonight. Please join me in a toast to our new president and First Lady of NYU. Cheers. Now, let's please welcome President Hamilton to come up and say a few words.
Andre, thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, what a wonderful day and what a wonderful end to a great day in this beautiful setting on the hillsides overlooking Hong Kong. And to have Andre describe the history of this place just makes me wish that all of the things that the British had done over the years were turned into such wonderful educational establishments. I fear that that was not always the case. But we've had today a really, really great series of sessions. And I think for me, today's conference has just reinforced that very special character, that very special role that NYU plays in the world and that NYU graduates play in the world. This is a university that all of you know, all of you love. It's a university that over the years has made itself relevant for the time that it's passing through. And the theme of today's conference was thriving in a changing world. And I think that sense of NYU projecting itself into the world so that it can be present in China, in the Middle East, throughout the world, students learning about the world, contributing to the many challenges that beset the world, that is something that NYU can feel very proud of. And I, as the 16th president, the very new 16th president of NYU, can also feel proud that this is a university that plays its role in the world and will continue to do so. I really enjoyed the sessions today. To hear Victor Fung talk about Hong Kong and how the secret of success was adaptable markets and adaptable ways of sourcing your raw products. And then to hear our investment professionals convincing me, at least, that the secret to success in investment is to be a comedian and entertain with jokes and interspersed with seriousness. And then we heard from our colleague from McKinsey all of the many challenges and disruptions the world faces, not the least of which was population growth. I'm not going to take his exhortation too much further, but it was clear that growing the population was something that all young people should be focusing their energies on, so that in the future we will have new students for NYU, new students to carry the torch into this great and challenging world. And to hear the discussion about innovation in the afternoon and the importance of cross-generational different perspectives on where innovation comes from. The message I took from today was that thriving in a changing world is absolutely possible. There are many, many examples of it around the world, but the one thing that is essential is that you constantly keep moving, you constantly keep adapting, you constantly keep changing. I have come to my role as the president of NYU from Oxford, and some of you will know that there's a very famous author in Oxford. His name was, well, he's long dead, but his name was Charles Dodgson, otherwise known as Lewis Carroll. And he wrote those wonderful books, Alice in Wonderland and Alice Through the Looking Glass. There's a wonderful line in Alice Through the Looking Glass that many of you will know. It's a line when Alice and the Red Queen are running through the forest, and Alice is out of breath. And she says, where I come from, if you run this fast, you get to somewhere else. And the Red Queen says, well, that's a very strange kind of place, because here it takes all the running you can do to stay in the same place. If you want to get somewhere else, you have to run twice as fast. And I think nothing could summarize the challenges of this 21st century, and especially business in the 21st century, than those lines. If you want to get somewhere else, you have to run twice as fast as you are doing. And the mechanism by which you run twice as fast, yes, of course, you must stay healthy. Yes, of course, you must exercise every day. But the mechanism by which you run twice as fast in this world, and this is in economy, is through education. And to see the products of NYU education in front of me this evening, to see so many graduates of NYU, and particularly to see so many graduates of the Stern School of Business here. It really, really warms the heart. And let me finish just with a very brief story. And I think for me, it sums up that very special characteristic that Stern graduates have. And some of you will have heard this story. It was a very sad thing that happened a few years ago. 3 business school graduates were out on the East River in New York, and they were sailing, and suddenly the weather changed, and it got the 3 graduates, one was a Stern graduate, one was a Booth graduate, and one was a Harvard Business School graduate. And they were sailing, and suddenly the storm came by. There was a flash of lightning. It hit the boat sank, and they all drowned. It was terribly sad. I'm sure you read about it in the New York Post. And of course, being business school graduates, they all went to heaven. And as they approached the gates of heaven, God was sitting on his throne. And the 3 business school graduates approached God, and God called first the Booth School graduate. Come towards me, said God. Tell me, Booth graduate, what do you believe? And the Booth graduate said, I believe in Midwestern hard work, in commitment to achieving your goals. And God said, that's wonderful. Come and sit on my right hand. And then he invited the Harvard School graduate to come forward. And God said, Harvard School graduate, what do you believe? And the Harvard School graduate said, I believe in the power of the markets. The markets never lie. The markets will help the world solve its problems. And God said, Harvard School graduate, come and sit on my left hand. And then the Stern graduate approached the gates of heaven. God was sitting on his throne, and he said, Stern graduate, approach me. Now tell me, what do you believe? And the Stern graduate said, I believe you're sitting in my chair. I can tell from that reaction how many Stern graduates we have here today. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a great day of celebration of the power of the mind, the power of imaginative thinking to understand, and let's hope to tackle some of the challenges of the world. It's also been a great day to celebrate NYU. and its contributions to the world. Thank you all for being part of this special day. Thank you.
These are the senior students from the Independent Schools Foundations Academy, and they're going to be performing a martial arts performance. So please enjoy. Wow, wow, wow. Clearly, our future is in safe hands, yeah? And maybe a few of these young students will be a Tisch student. Who knows? Apply, you should. So thank you again, senior students from ISF. And we may invite Mr. Hamilton and Mr. Koo up for group photo. Thank you so much. All right, everyone. Alas, all good things must come to an end as we come to the close of the evening.
Wait a minute, wait a minute. The end is not here yet.
Really?
Yeah.
Alfred, what do we have in store?
Well, I think the Pan-Asia Alumni Association has a special program and a special announcement to make. So with that, I would like to invite Mr. Koo, President of the Pan-Asia Alumni Association, and Kato-san, NYU Japan Club President, to join me on stage.
Wait, we're not auctioning off.
Well, we auction off Andre's wife, I think.
I thought it was a dinner with Mr. Hamilton.
No.
I guess his wife will actually
This is a surprise.
raise more money.
Yeah, and-
we're
and
here
Jenny-
to raise more money.
And
so.
Jenny Hamilton as well, I think.
All right.
So, I have to read this. I have to. Hello? Okay. So I have to read this just to make it official. So there's no misunderstanding. So again, hello everybody. We're going to hold you here for a little while. So just be patient, but it's going to be worth it. Okay. Now, just now, the committee member of the Pan-Asia Association had a meeting, and we have decided to host next year Pan-Asia Conference in Tokyo. Now, it's a great time to be there in December, so you can feel the weather in Tokyo in December. Okay. On behalf of myself and the Pan-Asia Association and the NYU Japan Alumni Club, Kato-san, and I would like to extend our warmest invitation to you all to join us next year in Tokyo. As many of you may know, this year's Pan-Asia Conference would not be possible without the support of so many generous sponsors. As such, Kato-san and I would like to kick-start fundraising for next year's conference by staging an ad hoc auction here and now. So we're generating 3 exciting prizes for you to bid on. May I ask Danny, Lisa, to come up? Well, you're here, so you can announce the prizes and officiate the auction, okay? So let's let the auction begin.
All right, I was only told, I thought we were just auctioning off Mr. Hamilton, but. Let me
So
see.
you know how auction works, right? I'm sure you all been to events.
And the amounts are in US dollars, by the
Yeah.
way, right? Not Hong Kong dollars, okay? Just an FYI.
So the way auction works is whoever bid the highest gets to take the prize, right? Not whoever bids the lowest. Okay? So as a reminder, today is a special night, and our President Hamilton is here. So let's show him some really Chinese spirit of how things work, okay?
All right. So the first item for auction is a dinner with Mr. Hamilton for 6 alums, okay? And the starting bid is going to be 1,000 US dollars. Do we have? Oh, we got a 13-year-old.
All
How are you
right.
making your money?
Okay.
Minors bid count, yeah?
Well, she represents her
Underage?
father.
All right. So we have 1,000. 1,500 from Miss
Whoa.
Deborah.
Wow. 15.
1,500.
2,000.
2,000. 2,500 back
25.
there. Do we have
Whoa.
3,000? Miss Isabel.
Whoa.
4,000.
4.
45. 5. 55. 55. Wait, you didn't have
55.
to rage because you wrote. All right, I'll retract.
Thank you, Dad.
5.
5,500. Wow.
Okay, 5,500.
Any
This
more
is for
bids?
six people, so it's actually not bad, yeah?
No.
It's gonna be at the Ta-Tan thing down the block.
No.
Venue hasn't been
Yun.
specified, but you know, Mr.
No,
Hamilton's
but it will
gonna be.
be-
worth it.
It will be the city that Mr. Hamilton will be visiting.
There's a
in
6,000
Asia.
here, Elisa.
6,000. All right, do we have 65?
Any
65.
65.
65. 7,000. Wow,
Wow.
7,000.
Wow.
Let me see what the next one is. I think
Any other
7,075. Do we have any 75?
Any other bids? Going once?
Steven?
Going twice? Going 2.5?
What was the bid? 75?
75.
75. 8,000.
8,000. Whoa.
That is a lucky number.
Okay.
8,000.
8,000.
Do we have anyone
Any
above?
other bids? Going once? Going twice? Sold.
Sold.
Okay. Wow.
Do you want to come
Amazing.
up?
Yeah. Yeah. Flora, you need to come up and take a photo with. Oh, February in Taiwan. Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, you need to come up and take a photo with Mr. Hamilton to make it official. Somebody with your iPhone can take a take a photo.
Thank you. 8,000. So the first
Now-
auction item.
Flora, you can hold Mr. Hamilton's hand back to the floor.
Free of charge.
Free of charge.
All right. So the second item for auction is 2 free admission tickets at the head table seats at next year's Pan-Asia Conference. So this
Table
is
1.
Table 1. Now we know who all the important people, where all the important people.
I have to
Table
give up
1.
my seat for that. Okay, starting bid, 500?
500.
Okay,
Do we have 1,000? For 2 tickets, Miss Isabel here.
1,000. We
She
see
must win something before she leaves tonight. So
2,000. 2,000.
2,000.
Okay.
2,500.
2,500.
Do we have 3,000?
Any other bids? 2,500.
3,000, Ronald.
3,000. Ronald,
4,000.
We're
Is
not
that-
trying to sell your books here, you know?
4,000? You know you already are at table 1, right? Yeah? All right.
Okay. That's a lot of book for 3,000, you know?
Table 1 may be
Okay.
over there next year, though. It's just a number.
What's that?
All right. Oh, it was 4,500.
45? Okay. 45.
45. 5,000.
5,000.
5,000.
Well, it looks like only that table is bidding, so you want to take it, you know, you wanna do the next level?
4,500. Going once.
45. Did we go to 5? Not yet, right?
Not yet.
45.
5.
5. Oh, thank you, Nate. Thank you. Okay.
55.
Now
Do we
55.
have 55?
Anybody? Anybody for 55? Anybody in the back table?
Nobody in the back table wants to move up anyway. It's only
Okay, 55.
55.
Going once. Going twice. Last chance. Sold to Nate. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you, Ming.
All right, so we're up to our last auction item, which is 2 free admission and 2 nights of hotel in Tokyo. So you
2
may not
nights.
be guaranteed seats at table 1, but you do get 2 free admission and 2 nights in Tokyo.
What kind of hotel?
It's not stated. It was just decided.
It's called a very nice hotel.
It's called a very.
Hey, nothing is shabby in Tokyo. So,
Nothing, you
you
know.
know.
You can't go wrong in Tokyo,
Can't be too
you know.
shabby.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If something
starting-
goes wrong, look for Mr.
Look for
Kato-san.
Kato-san, yes.
He's got, you know, it'll come with his number. Don't worry.
So starting bid at 500.
500. 2 nights, 2
Isabel.
admissions. No, table 8.
Is that 5,000 over there?
Is that 500 or 1,000?
It was
1,000. Okay, 1,000.
1,000.
Okay.
1,500, Isabel.
1,500.
2,000.
Did I see table 9?
Okay.
25? 2,000? 25.
Isabel's got
25.
3,000.
3,000.
3,500.
Anybody else?
Wow.
Come on,
3,000.
come on, 3,000. Who wants to go Tokyo? Come on, it's 2 nights.
5,000.
5,000.
Woo!
Whoa!
5,000. Anyone
free
55?
admissions.
Anyone for 5,500?
55. Wow.
This
Thank
is
you, Sammy.
2 free tickets and 2-night hotel in
Wow.
Tokyo.
You really want those 3 nights, huh? You want to stay with Kato-san.
And then it's free.
That will cost you more.
Do we have 55? Or we have
55.
55.
Anybody for 55?
2 nights
2
in
nights.
Tokyo hotel plus
2
2
free
free admission
admissions.
tickets.
Okay, going once. Going twice. Kato-san, you okay? Okay. Okay, so to Sammy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, this will conclude our auction for tonight. And we look forward to next year's auction with all of you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. So again, as we come to a close, if there's no more surprises, we want to, thank all the veterans of the Pan-Asia alums for your continued contribution. And for the first-timers, we hope we will see you again in the future. And if you want to be more active with the NYU community, please look out or join your local club's FB page or any other social media. And we really look forward to seeing you again next year in Tokyo, now that we know the location. And good night. And everyone's welcome to stay to mingle, by the way. So we'll stick around. Thank you.
That's why I walked to work. That's why I chose to go there, right?